Pretty sure we're all thinking it, so I'm just going to go right out and say it. The Denver Nuggets, they're not losing another game for the rest of the season. Why? No opponent has beaten the Nuggets in 43 years. They're the hottest team in the NBA right now, and they are legitimately in the conversation for winning an NBA championship this year. And it's funny because it was not that long ago, this team was starting Emmanuel Mudiay and Wilson Chandler. Man, oh man, how far they have come. Right now, leading candidate for MVP on the team in Nikola Jokic. They have what's looking like one of the best trades the franchise has ever done. Maybe one of the best trades in NBA history. They're undefeated since the trade deadline. All this while playing their best basketball of the season. And you know what? If it's even possible, I think this team is getting even better. Talking about all that on today's video, we're talking Denver Nuggets. So glad you could join me on the Half Court Report YouTube channel today. My name is Troy, and if it's your first time here, would love if you sub to this channel. I make NBA content, I make basketball videos all the time on this channel, so would love if you would be a part of it right along with me. Make sure you drop a like on this video if you enjoy this type of content that I'm putting out there. I would really appreciate it. So let's talk Denver Nuggets. As I mentioned, big reason the Nuggets are getting lots of publicity lately is due to this Aaron Gordon trade. So who is Aaron Gordon in a nutshell? Well, he is a 6'9" forward. He is an athletic freak. Remember when he came into the NBA, he was getting like Blake Griffin comparisons. Hasn't really panned out as far as that's concerned, but still, the dude can jump out of the gym. He can stretch the floor, shooting close to 40% from the three-point line this season. And he's also a pretty good defender. Add all that in with a fairly high basketball IQ. He knows when to cut to the basket. He knows how to get open. That's working out well with him for the Nuggets because Nikola Jokic, as we know, if you're open and you cut to the basket, he's going to find you. This is what's amazing. I read a stat that Aaron Gordon is dribbling less. He is touching the ball less. His minutes are actually even fewer with his few games in Denver than they were with Orlando, yet he is still more efficient as a player than his time in Orlando. You'll often hear that when guys get traded, they'll say, oh, he just needed a change of scenery. That's really the case, but I think we're fooling ourselves if Nikola Jokic doesn't have a lot to do with this and the way he's impacting Aaron Gordon's game. Nikola Jokic is one of those guys, if you're creating a player on NBA 2K, then that's the guy you pick. He's a dude who's huge, a guy who can pass like a magician, a dude who can shoot the ball, a guy who can rebound. You may have seen the stat from the other day that in just a few games that Jokic and Gordon have played together, Jokic has assisted Aaron Gordon on about 16 baskets versus 11 that he had his entire year in Orlando. And that's what Aaron Gordon is learning. He's learning that if you cut to the basket, Jokic is going to find you. He's going to put you in an easy position to score. Let's talk about some of the other players on this Nuggets team and why they work so well together. You got Jamal Murray running point. This guy, he's really, really solid. He grew up in front of our eyes in the playoffs last year. Murray shooting a career high in three-point percentage and three-point attempts. Huge part of their offense. This guy can light it up in a hurry. Let me get a word in about Michael Porter Jr. as well. This guy is more than just Jonte Porter's big brother. He scores at all three levels, and he is coming into his own as a playmaker and a dribbler as well as a shooter. His confidence is through the roof. He has a chip on his shoulder. I think one of the best young players in the league, and I am predicting that he is going to have a breakout playoff performance very similar to what we saw with Jamal Murray last year. You got Will Barton, Will the Thrill. He's a slasher. He's a scorer. The Gary Harris trade is really opening up a lot more opportunity for him. I would much rather have Barton starting at the two-guard spot than I would Gary Harris. Love him on this team because if Porter Jr., if Murray, if Jokic, if any of those guys are having an off night, then odds are Will Barton isn't going to be having an off night too. So with Jokic, Gordon, Barton, Murray, Porter, the Nuggets have all 5 starters capable of scoring 20 a night on any given night. And the bench, I think, is one of the best in the league as well. I like to call this basically a bench of second-rounders and undrafted players. Check out this list. You have Paul Millsap, who by this point is like 90 years old, but he's still continuing to get those checks. He's still getting about 10 points a game, and he's given some defense, some shooting, rebounding, and that veteran presence. You got Monty Morris, one of the best backup point guards in the league. Can't believe they got him with like the 50-something pick out of Iowa State a few years ago. He runs the show. He gets others involved when Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic sit. You've got Facundo Campazzo, and this guy, whenever people do YouTube videos on Campazzo, it gets tons of views. I need to make a Campazzo video tomorrow, basically, because this guy is electric to watch. When Campazzo and Jokic are out there, it's like the two of them are trying to one-up each other and defy the laws of physics with what you can do with a basketball. JaMychal Green's on the bench as well. Loved him when he was with Memphis. He's a hustle player. He can hit the three, play some pretty solid defense. Then JaVale McGee, who they got in the trade from Cleveland at the trade deadline, basically just a monolith out there when he's under the basket. He's a guy you need, especially for a deep playoff run. So what do I think is next for this Denver Nuggets team? I'm glad you asked. I would love to tell you. I think they have a serious chance of, when the NBA regular season is over, to have the second best record in the Western Conference. So what does that mean for the playoffs and for going forward? Some teams they could run up against. The Clippers. Are they scared of the Clippers? Well, we remember what they did to them last year in the playoffs. They came back from that 3-1 deficit to defeat them. It could happen again, this time with home court advantage, people playing in that high altitude in Denver. And then I just mentioned the Jazz, and they're an awesome regular season team, but are they more than that? Are they a team that can go far into the playoffs? I think we'll see very shortly. You have the Blazers. They have Dame Lillard. They have CJ McCollum. What else do they have? Are they much of a threat? I don't think so in the long run. Then you have the Phoenix Suns, a great team, but outside of Chris Paul, they are not a team that has been playoff tested. Booker never made the playoffs. DeAndre Ayton never made the playoffs. Those are two of your big three right there. Can Chris Paul do it all? I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. Then you have the Lakers. Man, oh man, the LA Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets. I think we are destined to see this matchup happening in the Western Conference Finals. And that was a great matchup in last year's playoffs. But here's the difference this year. The Nuggets are better. And the Lakers, I don't know that they're worse than last year, but LeBron James and Anthony Davis currently out due to injury. What's that going to look like when they are back in the lineup and when they are gearing up for the playoffs? I think an upset could definitely be on the table. That's what I think, but I need you to tell me in the comments what you think of this Denver Nuggets team. What do you think of the moves that the Nuggets made at the trade deadline, and what do you think the Nuggets are going to be doing for the rest of this season and heading into the playoffs? Let me know in the comments. Also, while you're here, make sure to like the video, and if you're new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I got some boxes on the screen right here for you to click on so you can see more NBA content just like this. Thanks so much for watching today. My name is Troy, and I'll see you next time.